welcome back to the podcast. We have Coach Allen here today and Coach Jackson here today. I'm subbing. I'm Isaiah.
Hi, Isaiah.
Hi.
Yeah, as she said, I'm Coach Allen. I am the activities director here at ECA CEC. Love working here. Love working with all the kids.
And I'm Jackson. I'm an EA here, and I'm the assistant coach. I also go by the Commodore.
This is our third episode. So, Coach Allen and Coach Jackson, how does it feel to help run esports?
It's very fun. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's always a good thing to have a palate cleanser from my day-to-day work. And while I don't get to work with students as much as I'd like to, unless I'm subbing, being able to come here and hang out with and help lead the students is always a treat. It's usually the best part of a Tuesday or Thursday.
It's why I came here. It's why I took the job here at ECA, because I absolutely love working with all the students here and making sure esports happens.
Very lovely, very lovely. What would you guys have to say that your favorite esports game is?
I'm wearing a lanyard for mine. I've been playing League of Legends for 15 years at this point, basically since it came out. Before that, I used to play Dota All-Stars with my friends. Before that, or kind of around that time, I was actually playing in Halo tournaments. So I'm a big Halo fan. I've played every single Halo game. I was like top ranked back when I was y'all's age at Halo 3 and Halo Reach.
It's got to be Overwatch for me. I don't think it's a particularly well-run esport. Well, maybe it is now. I haven't watched in a while, but it definitely had issues, but it was probably my favorite game for quite a while. I spent so many hours grinding it, and it was probably the only esport I went out of my way to watch. So it's got to be Overwatch, even though it's very flat. But Marvel Rivals might take over. Who knows?
And what made you decide to run esports and help run esports?
Well, for me, this has been something I've wanted to do the entire time. Part of it is that this is a great equalizer for competition between students. Otherwise, a lot of other competition is gendered. A lot of other competition is restrictive based on your, physical ability. And so, students who may be in a wheelchair can't, necessarily be on the basketball team, or at least on the basketball team they strive and want to be on. But here it's the great equalizer. Everyone can be a part of this, and it's something also that's just really, really fun. It's just so much fun, and that's the biggest thing is makes kids want to be here. That's cool.
For me, well, when I first found out we had an esports program, I was like, oh, that's cool. But the main reason I'm a part of it is because it's just out of necessity, because when the other coach disappeared, I was one of the people who was available and would be interested in it. But yeah. So I came in to cover a few days, and then apparently some of the students liked me. So when Mr. Allen came here, he asked me to join since they were saying some good things about me.
That's very interesting, very important to know. How do each of you help? How do each of you help esports?
That's kind of both of us.
Yeah.
We kind of facilitate everything. We just give y'all the resources to actually get things done. So if you need computers, we give you computers. If you need, coaching, we give you coaching. if you need, discipline and structure, we give you discipline and structure. Yeah.
Yeah. Coach Allen's being a little generous to me there. He's definitely the brains of the operation. I'm much more hands-on. I'm just helping the students with coaching or being the adult in the room. But more often than not, everything else related to esports is just him. It is nice though having both of us because we can be the good cop or the bad cop depending on the student or the team or what needs to be done.
Very interesting. What was the process of setting up the esports class?
It was a lot. The first thing is buy-in. It's making sure students want to sign up and everybody else wants to support it.
Right.
We are lucky to have definitely the most supportive administration in all of APS. I firmly believe that our principals do more for us than any principal does for any other esports program in the district. And that's saying something because we have 3 of the best esports programs in the country here in this district. I got to take some of that credit that I think, I've sold it, but also just the kids built everything here. The kids built, from the ground up, the entire program. And when they showed administration, how much they can do, that they can win trophies, that they can get our school nationally recognized through this, I think that was a lot of the buy-in. The class separate from the club, that was largely constructed by Miss Thomas, but on the same side, it was also constructed by APS Esports and the head of that, because they created a curriculum through APS Esports that we pretty closely follow, as well as the NASEF, which is the they changed it, Network of Academic and Scholastic Esports Federations. It's complicated.
That sounds very complicated.
Yeah. Anyway, setting up the esports class is a huge process, and it's still a learning opportunity because things are going to change next semester with kind of the structure of some things. Because some people liked some parts of the class, some people didn't like other parts of the class, so we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, that's mostly me on that front for constructing that.
Yeah.
What would you say? Like, what happens behind the scenes of setting up all the club activities?
You want this one?
Sure.
Sounds
Well,
like a big one.
yeah, he's definitely more so the technical part of it, but there's a lot of reminding the the players that they're still at a school
Yeah.
and still need to conduct themselves as such. So reminding our teams to focus in and before matches is a big one. A big issue we're having actually is to treat the lab a little bit better. But I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add?
Sure. So when it comes to like setting up activities, planning and forethought are not necessarily what high schoolers are good at unless they're taught to be good at those.
Yeah.
And that's something that we teach here. It's what's called a soft skill. It's not necessarily something that can be graded and applied, but it is something we can witness that if they're good at it or not. Like for instance, playing this podcast, this takes more effort than people would think, but how do I grade how well you've been like emailing us to schedule things and how well you worked together to write this? It's kind of a tricky thing to schedule, but it's a kind of a funny question for you to ask because you're basically doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of all of our esports teams here, which one's your favorite?
It's the same, right?
Probably.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay. Well, it's really like asking us to choose between our children. Like, it's such a hard answer to pick, but it's Mario Kart.
Which one?
varsity Mario Kart.
Yeah. We got it. We gotta shout out our seniors. We've got a senior varsity Mario Kart team that's got second at state the last 2 years, and this year they're gonna bring back first. Only reason we didn't keep going in this playoffs is because of Plavia's scheduling is OP.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Didn't seem like a very hard decision.
We love all our teams equally, for sure. Except for Mario Kart varsity, which we like a little bit more.
Oh, okay. What are requirements to join esports?
Be an ECA student and don't be failing any of your classes. And even if you're failing your classes, I'd be happy for you to join. We'll just put you on the bench and have the other esports students help you get there. But really, you don't have to play video games to join the club. There are lots of people who just join the club and they, hang out and help with other things. Like we've got the podcast here, we've got social media, we've got planning events, and
helping out at those events, helping out at the events as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the requirements are that you want to be here, and that you take ECA classes, and that you're not failing. So yeah, everybody's welcome. Come on in.
Very nice. Is the big question here, is esports a sport?
Do you want? Yes. Really, I mean, any definition of sport you come up with is going to include esports in it. I think it's pretty impossible to come up with a definition of sport that excludes esports, but doesn't also exclude numerous other sports.
Yeah, it's structured competition.
Yeah.
That's all sport is. And a lot of the time, it's not even structured head-to-head competition. People would say that Olympic sports like skiing are sports, and when it's not direct competition, or even things like figure skating, are sports. Though all it is structured competition. So yes, obviously, this is going on a tangent. My mother is an art professor, and every year, she's been teaching for 50 years, and really forever. And every year she gets kids who keep asking, "Oh, is this art? Like our comic books art, our video games art, our is graffiti art?" And she just says, "Yes." It's a very broad definition. Same thing with sports. Is it a sport? Yes. Is it organized competition? There we go.
And going back to the Olympics as an example, chess is in the Olympics, and it has been for years and years. Chess is basically an esport for all intents and purposes. You're just moving pieces around. That doesn't require any more physical activity than moving a mouse and keyboard, I don't think. Maybe less.
You're just saying that it's competition.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I was saying is if chess counts, which the Olympics have decided that it does, and I think a lot of people in general have decided that it does, then esports have to count.
Right. So how is esports beneficial?
Esports has a lot of the same benefits of traditional sports, what people like to call T-sports. It has a lot of those same soft skills like leadership and sportsmanship and all these skills that we have traditionally associated with T-sports, you get from esports as well.
Right.
And like I said, it's more inclusive, as in anyone can do it. Not everyone can do it well, but everyone can do it, which means that it supports a lot more of the student body than traditional sports do. How else is it beneficial? Well, because it teaches skills for the modern age. My students are learning to do things like make a podcast, and they're learning to do things like set up equipment and create and build computers, and some of them are journalists, some of them are artists who are learning skills, and all of these can be used towards their careers. For instance, if you want to go and be a broadcaster after this, then you're learning those skills. And if you want to be an interviewer, you're learning those skills. If you want to be a scheduler, you're learning those skills right now by creating this podcast.
Right.
So basically, how is esports beneficial? Well, it reaches more students. and it engages them. And even if those students don't take away anything other than their gameplay, then they'll still be taking away those soft skills
Right.
where they can use those and apply them to any other part of their lives.
All I would add on is that it also reaches so we talked about inclusivity for
Right.
esports, right? But it's also a lot of the students that esports helps are the ones that would have been left behind by traditional sports. Not always. We have several students that do both, but it opens it up to students that may not have had the option for sort of team-based or like the sort of leadership skills that we're trying to teach them.
And probably one of the most important questions: why do you guys love esports?
Well, why do you?
I like hanging out with people. I like making new friends.
There you go. And why do I love esports? Like, I guess maybe we can tell our like origin stories. I don't know. Like, I remember back in the day, I was playing with my brothers, and I remember, for instance, when my brother first was trying to explain what Halo was to me, and I had never played a 3D video game before in my entire life, which I know I'm ancient, but he was describing it to me, and I just didn't understand. And I was like, wait a minute, so you can have 16 people play this at the same time. And that was like, on our computer we had some educational games, and I had no idea that was possible. And then I remember distinctly going to a party with my brother, and I was in middle school and he was in high school, and literally, like, I think we had like 10 Xboxes all chained together with cords going down the hallway, and everyone was just playing together, and we were screaming at each other, and that just kept going. Like, after that, when I was in high school, we would play League of Legends in the back of the pizza shop that I worked at. We would take orders in between playing games, and if somebody called while we were in a game, we just wouldn't answer. And then, like, going after that, in college, I was a part of the esports team at Georgia Southern University, and that was one of the things that kept me motivated to keep my grades up, and it gave me a real break from my degree program that I really needed. And then now, like, I just love making all of y'all smile. That's why I became a teacher, is to give y'all what you need. And for a lot of students, this is what they need.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, even one of my first friends were literally on Xbox, so.
I have a lot of similar experiences playing COD with my cousin or things like that. But probably the biggest thing for me is after I graduated high school. Most of my friends, we all went to different colleges or didn't go to college in some cases. So being able to get online and play like Overwatch or whatever, any other random game that my friend told me to download, is really what kept us friends, which can be kind of hard to do once you become an adult and everyone's busy and maybe lives in different cities. I guess the social aspect of it is probably the most important for me, and it's why I'm so close with a lot of my friends and even people I've met online. As for why I'm in esports here, I guess it's sort of similar, but yeah, just because it's a lot of fun, and being able to spend time with students when it's not just me subbing their class or something and telling them to stop talking or what have you. To be fair, I still have to do a lot of stop talking, but it's different in the circumstances.
Right.
And yeah, there are a lot of students that we have in esports that I didn't really know otherwise, and it's been great getting to know all of our kids.
That's extremely interesting. Anything else you'd like to say?
Thanks for having us on. I know we both had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this is...
I learned a lot about you guys.
Yeah. that's good.
I didn't know much about your childhood.
Yeah, this is the therapy couch today.
Growing up as a poor boy in Georgia.
I literally did grow up as a poor boy in Georgia. My high school was three cotton fields. Not even a joke. I rode in the back of a pickup truck to work. Not even a joke.
3 miles uphill both ways.
There's no hills in Georgia.
And then played games with your friends at your work.
Yes, I very much did that.
And then didn't answer.
I don't know if Effingham Pizza still exists, but if it does exist, I should probably give you back those paychecks.
Yeah. Or calling in to work because I stayed up too late playing games.
Yeah, that didn't happen earlier this year. Anyway.
Well, that was all of our questions. And you answered all of them perfectly. Well, that was our podcast and our beautiful, luxurious guests. That's it. Goodbye. Cue Timothy.